Welcome back to another Gifted Performance educational podcast with your host, Coach Plaza. Today, we're going to talk about making weight for physique athletes. So first, we want to make sure body fat is as low as possible. That is the easiest way to make weight if you're not having to manipulate water or sodium. If you do, here's what you want to do. Establish a consistent and baseline number for water and sodium intake before peak week. So for example, my client was eating 3,000 milligrams of salt per day and drinking 4 liters of water consistently. So with enhanced athletes, the use of an ARB, something like telmisartan, weeks before peak week to help manage aldosterone levels and water retention for PED usage. If you need more information on that, John Jewett has a lot of videos or podcasts talking about telmisartan and how that works. So if you need more information on that, just YouTube John Jewett telmisartan and you will get some background information on that. With my client, she did still have some menstrual cycle symptoms at 4 weeks out. So we, knowing and anticipating that may happen again, we decided to pull her testosterone replacement therapy out 2 weeks out. And then we used some other supplements for estrogen control to stall and manage estrogen and the menstrual cycle. So we also tapered PED usage down. So we used higher dosages throughout the prep, and we tapered that down going into the show, and that will help also manage aldosterone levels and water retention from PED usage. So at 10 days out, we started a carb cycle of high, mid, and low days. So going to her peak sheet, I'll show you what that looks like. She was running about 25 grams of carbs, really low carb throughout the last couple of weeks of her prep. So we did a high carb day of 170 grams of carbs, still below maintenance calories. So she's still in a deficit. And then we went mid carb day with 80 grams of carbs and then a low carb day of 25 grams of carbs, all well below maintenance. So still in a deficit here. So at 9 days out, going back to 10 days out, we increased water from 4 liters of water to 5.6, and we increased sodium from 3 grams to 4 grams. So we gave her more than what she normally consumes. Still a normal amount of cardio here, regular cardio, and step count was at 8,000 steps throughout the whole peak week and pretty much the whole prep. From 10 days out, we want to establish also a constant potassium intake. So we did 4 grams per day throughout the whole peak week. From 10 days out, we kept water constant throughout the whole peak week, except for the last day. And we started to taper sodium down at 9 days out. At 7 days out, she was 2 pounds lighter than she was 10 days out. So in 3 days, she dropped 2 pounds. She was very flat. She sent me some pictures. Well, the thing with physique sports is that it's not just having to make weight. In other combat sports, things like that, you can just make weight. You don't have to worry about what you look like. With physique sports, you do have to care about what you look like, and that does matter. After she sent pictures, I saw that she was very flat. So we increased, I was going to bring calories back up to maintenance anyway, but keep low carbs. But I decided to give her higher carbs to kind of let her fill out a little bit, so we could kind of maintain a fuller look going into the show. So she was at about a maintenance calorie there, maintenance calories. And then from 7 days out, we kept tapering sodium down. We started the use of aldactone, which is a diuretic. It helps also manage aldosterone levels like telmisartan does, but it also allows you to store potassium. So as we're eating potassium at a constant level every day, we are storing potassium more and more up in the body. We also pulled fat loss supplements like ephedrine, Clen. So pretty much fat loss is over at this point, but things like Clen can drain potassium stores. So we want to take that out completely. And like I said, the use of aldactone will help with potassium stores through the week, as well as obviously eating a high potassium diet. From also the T3 here, this was her peak dosage here, and we lowered that going into peak week. We still kept it in to assist with weight loss, but you can see we tapered it down, and we don't want to keep that too high, but it does help and assist with thyroid function. So at 3 days out, we switched, she's at the same weight. We switched to a low carb diet, still, around maintenance calories, just a little under, and we bring the fats up to balance out the calories, so it helps with overall energy, and doesn't lose, she doesn't lose too much of her fullness. We're still tapering sodium down, and this is the last day that she'll have 5.6 liters of water. 2 days out, so she woke up at a new low weight, 0.2 under, 118, so 117.8. We cut water in half at this point. 5.6 liters is excessive for her. 3 liters is plenty. We're still tapering sodium down. She's still on a low carb diet. And we monitored the urine color throughout the day to make sure that she wasn't dehydrated from lowering her water intake. So we just want to make sure that she's still hydrated going into, the weigh-in, because we need, if we have to sweat or anything like that, we want to make sure we're plenty hydrated for that. And that's why, having 2 gallons of water, every day throughout peak week or high water intake will be helpful for that. And, it also helps allow you to continue flushing sodium out of the body. So then 2 days out, then the night before she weighed in, we used a diuretic, hydrochlorothiazide, at night, and that also helps flush more sodium and water out. So she woke up at her lightest the day that she had to weigh in and she was only 0.4 pounds overweight. At this point, her urine color was still pretty hydrated, slightly yellow, but still very hydrated. And what I gave her was 4 ounces of black coffee, hot. And an hour later, she went to the bathroom again, still hydrated, but she was 0.4 or half a pound underweight. So she peed out almost a full pound. Then she made weight at 2 p.m. At this point, we want to kind of reintroduce electrolytes, sodium, potassium, and carbohydrates, so we can store glycogen to fill out for the show. So protein intake on this day can stay pretty low. We can shift most of those calories to carbs and some fats so that she holds that glycogen in the muscle for a little longer, and so we can start storing glycogen. Cramping is still really possible at this point. So we experienced some cramping doing posing and that kind of thing. So basically, if that's an issue, you just want to increase sodium intake in the rest of their meals. So that's pretty much it for making weight. She made weight really easily. It's different. It's going to be a little different for everyone depending on their baseline numbers going into peak week. Obviously, it's not going to be the same as hers. So you have a 115 pound female versus a 220 pound male. Things are going to be a lot different. So, water intake might be different, sodium intake and potassium intake, carbs, all those kinds of things. So, she made weight really easily. It was still very hydrated and didn't have to sweat or go into the sauna or do any of those things, because keeping water high and kind of tapering sodium down. The use of diuretics is also helpful. Not everyone has that though. So you have natural athletes needing to make weight or anything like that. Obviously you probably won't use diuretics, but doing something just like, tapering sodium down and keeping water high up until the last day will still give you plenty of water loss there. So that was pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and comment, subscribe if you like this video.